Well, we've got Stefan Stevens on the line here, who's the author of Natasha's Prison. How are you today?
I'm very well, thanks yourself, Toby.
Yep, I'm doing smashing. Now, the latest book that you've got is, of course, Natasha's Prison, as I mentioned, and it's a heartfelt story about Harry and Natasha and a harmonious relationship that ends too abruptly, leaving Harry in despair and fighting for freedom from his depression. So, without giving too much away, are you able to expand on that for us?
Yeah, I think Natasha's Prison for me is a book that is talking about real life issues, real life things such as emotional bonding, PTSD, and abandonment. And often within books that you read, it touches on certain sensitive issues, but it doesn't really go into a lot of detail. And maybe that's just from my experience of reading certain books. So I really felt like writing something that is really relatable and that people can read and say, wow, I've maybe experienced something like this, or I can just relate to it in something that I've gone through in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. What actually inspired the book?
Well, I think, for anybody who creates anything, it doesn't matter whether they write poetry, whether they write music, or, write the scripts for screenwriting. I think that there's a little bit of personal experience that goes into any of those pieces of art. And I think that I have had some experience that certainly contributed to the book. But yeah, I think that something that also inspires it and goes into detail for me is probably music. Music is also a very big inspiration in my life. And by listening to certain types of music, it alters your emotions while you are writing, and you are maybe able to go into more depth on certain issues, or, just keep it lighthearted on other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of music, you actually had a song done based on one of the chapters. What made you decide to actually do that?
To be honest with you, that was really tongue-in-cheek, because writing it, I thought, wow, okay, there's a little bit of rhythmic flow to it.
Yeah.
And then throughout the editing process, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing just to try and turn it into a song? But the whole journey to turn it into a song was something that I never anticipated, to be honest with you. I actually approached a couple of artists, and the artist said to me, I'm sorry, this is not something that I would like to work with. But then I changed my approach to actually finding a music composer. And then when we had the rhythm of it, I could then approach a singer, which, it was absolutely inspiring, to be honest with you.
So who is the singer that's singing on the song?
The singer's name is Joe Bills. He's from America. And I think he's an incredibly talented person. And the music composer is Nella Ruiz, and she's from Argentina.
Yeah. And how would you describe the genre? Because do you think the genre of the song fits the genre of the book in a way?
100%.
Yeah.
What we went for is to actually, my briefing for both of the music composer as well as the singer was, this song I want to break hearts with.
Yeah.
That is the objective of it. And it's the same as the book, because the book is very, very emotional. And the book, any reader who has read it up until now has commented exactly that, is saying, it's really, really emotional, and it triggers certain emotions within people. So I hope that people such as yourself would like the song, because that's obviously what we write for. But my opinion, definitely, the book and the song really speaks in one tone of voice.
Yeah. And the thing about the song as well is that you haven't just done a song for the sake of making a song for like promotional purposes or whatever. It's actually quite a good song and would work if that was on its own.
100%. I really, really hope for it to be able to work on its own.
Yeah.
We are actually, at the moment, we are busy in the production of the music video. And that hopefully will be available next week. But at the moment, we are facing a couple of delays.
Yeah.
And I hope that the music video, along with the song, would also be able to portray that specific chapter in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of the book, who would you say the target audience actually is?
This is tongue-in-cheek cheek, because I actually think that, I think a lot of men would be able to learn a couple of things from the book, but how many men out there actually enjoy reading romance novels, and how many men actually like watching romance movies for that sake? So I think that women most certainly, that's the target market, but I would love for it if men can get on board.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas as to how to break that barrier to maybe get men on board?
To be honest with you, I have no idea other than the normal traditional way. If you're in a relationship at the moment, your girlfriend or your wife or fiance would maybe bribe you to come and sit on date night and watch this movie with you. But I think that for the book specifically, I think that if couples could read it together, because I think that there's a couple of topics that is discussed within the book that I think that every single relationship can benefit from.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, of course, as well, there's a fantastic cover on this book, which is like a bird cage and there's fire in the background. Who designed that?
This guy is an incredibly, incredibly talented person. His name is Adil, and he's from Pakistan. Yeah. He has actually done all of the graphics that I needed for the book internally, as well as the cover and all of the promotional posters that he designed. He's incredible. He's got such an amazing vision, and I love working with him, and I would absolutely recommend him to anybody that needs any work done.
Yeah. And how does the cover relate to the content in the book? Is it purely a fancy design, or does the birdcage and the fire relate to the plot a little bit?
The birds, certainly. I think that the birds are a symbol of freedom. The fire would be the explosion happening within the relationship and the fire that Harry had to walk through. And the birdcage ties in with the title being Natasha's prison. So bringing everything together, that is basically how we got onto the concept of the cover.
Yeah. And will there be a second installment of this book, do you think?
I've thought about it, to be honest with you, but at the moment I'm busy writing another book that has got nothing to do with Natasha's prison at all. And maybe after that, maybe I can return to this one. To be honest with you, I can't actually read my own book. When I do read my own book, sometimes I even get nightmares for a couple of days. It really, really triggers me emotionally when I read this book. So when I do come back and write another one, I think I need a little holiday from this one, to be honest.
So if you can't read your own book, how do you spell check it and things? Do you get somebody else to do that?
100%. This is another thing that I had to learn. This is actually my third book that I've written, but my first to be published. And throughout this whole publishing process, I have learned so many things, and I had to get a lot of professional people on board to be able to have the product that you see today. And one of the things that you do is you send it to an independent editor, and they read it and go through everything to make sure that your grammar is correct, your placement and everything is correct. So, and I've had the ability to work with a great, great team for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where can we find the book Natasha's Prison, Healing from Your Prison I Never Knew I Was In?
The book is currently available on the major online platforms such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The audiobook is also available on leading stores. Most of the links are on my website as well, authorstefanstevens.com. And yeah, anything that gets updated is there and on my social media.
Yeah. Well, many thanks for coming on the show today. It's been great to have you on.
Likewise, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate your time.